If do I have haters? Probably.
When are you going to propose to your girlfriend?
I feel like the internet as a whole is a very pretty negative place.
Basically, you are saying that now social media is a big vent for hate and hurt people.
I think so, yeah.
Dayo has millions of followers on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, but he still has a job from 9 to 5. Today, we are going to talk to him about how you balance your personal life and the fame that you have online with your daily job.
Welcome to Inspiring Leader podcast. Today we have with us Dayo. And as you know, we had his brother before. We couldn't miss the opportunity. And I'm going to start with a very, very strong question. Do you have haters?
Do I have haters? Probably. Probably. I don't know them by name, but I'm sure they exist.
So you don't have bad comments, like don't say nasty things in your...
Oh no, there are definitely bad comments. There are. I think, as a matter of fact, I kind of actively look for the bad comments because I enjoy reading the bad comments.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's the nature of the content that we do is it's silly. Like we're making jokes. So usually the bad comments come from people who don't get the joke, or they're just being mean. And so for me, it's very much a situation where I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see what they come up with, and yeah, so
but there have been a comment that really pissed you off or touched you and you're like overreacting.
So there have been comments that I think are pretty bad, but I don't think I overreact as much because I'm aware that they're just comments at the end of the day. But the ones that really trigger me are the ones that have to do with like family, where because it's a random video on the internet, so I don't know why you would talk about like my mom or my dad just because I made a joke. So those ones get me pretty riled up. But then at the same time, like I take a second, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Like,
I told you this before when I met you the first time that I see you like a lazy genius.
I appreciate that.
Where do you get your genius zone from, your inspiration zone? What makes you be so funny?
So we grew up watching a lot of different types of funny things. If we're not watching like cartoons on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, then we're watching funny movies. So we watched a lot of like Monty Python when we're growing up. We watched a lot of Jackie Chan movies as well. So
Yeah,
especially
it's
like
our generation of
yeah,
Jackie Chan
exactly,
movies.
exactly. Between just the media that we took in is what shaped our humor, and then obviously like our parents as well. They have their own special blend of like somewhere in between. So we pick some of that up. You mix that up with a few cartoons, a few TV shows here and there, and you get
And
where
there you
we are.
go.
Yeah.
Your brother told me that you are not still fully 100% working with him in the business. What stops you to go 100% in this niche?
I mean, the main thing that stops me going 100% is this kind of happened out of nowhere. And I already have a career that I'm pursuing. And so there are commitments that I've made or that I continue making in that career that stops me from going full time. For example, I'm on leave right now. I'm on annual leave right now. But as soon as I get back on the 12th, we're going full circle all over again because we already have a plan for 2026 and the things that we need to accomplish in 2026. And so I don't like leaving things unfinished. And that's kind of the hamster wheel that I'm on. So like as soon as we get back, we're going full force. We're going to do all these things in my quote unquote normal 9 to 5.
What do you
And
do on your normal
I
9
work
to
in
5?
IT. I work in an IT.
So you work in IT, and are you
Yeah.
passionate about it?
Very. I've been passionate about IT since I was a child.
Yeah, because you're a very rare case where you are very happy with your 9 to 5, but also very successful on the internet.
Yes. Yes. And so that's what I told her. I said, look, the reality is I love my job. So I'll be there until I stop loving it, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. But never say never at the same time. Like I'm
What's
sure.
your plan for the next year or next years on your social media platform?
On social media, I'm trying to move kind of away from the established formula. I know the audience doesn't like it when I do this, but I have said so before that I'm not necessarily tied to the if formula. I very much think there's a lot of different ways to make content. One of them is just talking to the camera about how you feel. Some of it is making jokes, reactions, stuff like that. So I want to do more of that this year, but also keeping the stuff that they love as well. So I think that's pretty much what I have in mind for 2026.
That's amazing. I want to know one super funny thing that you have done in your childhood with your brother.
I don't know if he was part of that, but my mom told me that when I was younger, I had a really bad habit of climbing tables
Okay.
and like jumping off and going wee and then climbing up again and then jumping off again. Like I said, I don't know if he picked that up, but that I would say that's one thing that like
Actually,
sticks
he
out.
said the same.
He said the
Yeah,
same?
you were jumping off
Yeah,
the
see?
furniture.
There you go. There you go.
I think this is the thing of our generation because you are jumping off the wardrobe, which is
Yeah,
three, four.
yeah. That plus I watch a lot of wrestling too. So like,
You sound like twins. That's a very good one. It's a common memory. Is there any experience in your past that really marked you emotionally in a not such a positive way?
um, oh, wow. Yeah, I would say a few years ago I lost my best friend at the time. Um, he unfortunately passed away. So that
What
was
age?
that was one thing, like we never actually discussed how old he was, which is
Oh,
so
really?
crazy. I believe it was like 28 or
Oh my god,
26 when
that's so young.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
he fell, unfortunately. He had an unfortunate fall. So that was rough. But yeah, because especially since like I had messaged him the day before, or no, in the same day, and he responded, and then a few hours later he just didn't. So that was rough.
And how did you process that? Like, how was your journey?
um,
Like, for sure, his death brought some lessons to you.
yeah, the main thing there was don't take life for granted. Like I'm very chill. I'm very relaxed. I'm very much what you deserve is going to come to you when it's supposed to. But that made me a bit more open to things that I think normally I would have like a hard stance on. So, like for example, I like staying inside my house. I don't like leaving my house. I'm very much a homebody. But that plus, this whole social media thing that my brother and I are doing, that really kind of forced me to embrace being outside more often. I'm still learning how to do that.
You're more like a inside cave
Yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this even
And
the
he's
fact
the
that-
outgoing one.
It's funny because he's more outgoing than me, but he's also very much a homebody as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I think that's the best way to put it.
The next part of our podcast, it's called the 2 minutes coaching session.
2-minute coaching system. Okay.
So in these 2 minutes, the pressure is on me. I have to give you clarity on a question that it's bothering you, burning you, and you need an answer to it. It can be any area related to your life, business, work, wherever.
Okay. I don't want to give you like a tough question.
Give me a tough one. I'm a
one?
good coach. Trust me.
Okay.
I do this for 16 years now. So
Okay. How do you open yourself to growth, and how do you accept the change that is necessary for growth?
the first is to have a motivation.
Okay.
So if you are in a comfortable zone and you like the way you are and the way the things are going, then you won't choose growth. Also, you need to analyze your values. We have 3 to 5 core values.
Okay.
So I can give you some examples. One of them can be family, or can be spirituality, or can be work ethic. So if growth is not in your main values, then it's going to be harder for you to do it.
Okay, so growth in itself has to be one of your main values in order.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
can embrace it. and you have to attach a meaning to that growth. Why am I? Because if it's not your main value, that means I'm doing an energetic effort to make that happen. So if I'm going to do that effort, which I'm not doing usually,
Motivated for it.
why should I do it? And the why should be very strong, because otherwise you will quit in the middle of the process.
Fair. Fair. Okay.
You get clarity?
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
That
So
helps. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm under 2 minutes, but you can see on the screen because the time was ticking.
I'm gonna assume that was like a minute and a half, minute 15. I think you were very succinct. I think very clear, very concise. I
Awesome.
like it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next segment is the hot seat question. Are
Okay.
you ready to take it?
Absolutely.
So the hot seat question is, when are you going to propose to your girlfriend?
When am I going to propose to my girlfriend?
I hope
There's
you see this.
there's no. I don't think we have a definite time set, but I think sooner rather than later is probably the best way to put it. It's a conversation that we've had before. It just kind of has to make sense for both of us, and then it just kind of, when it happens, it happens. But
But
it's something.
what should happen for you to make sense to you now?
It's a bunch of different things, honestly. There's like, we just started a business, like my brother and I just started a business, so that needs to be a bit more settled, but at the same time that requires us to currently we're living together, that would require us to find our own place and settle into that place. The business is settled, career wise we're settled. There are a bunch of different things that I feel like need to fall into place before we go into that realm.
Yeah, because
things.
actually you're searching the base that a man needs to provide for his woman, which is the
Essentially.
comfort, the house, and
Yeah,
providing everything she's needed for her. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like for you to wait, like I'm talking from the coach perspective.
Yeah.
You know, women have a different perspective
This is
because they
true.
have time clock.
Of course.
And they want to have babies
Of course.
and so on. So you have to understand her line and your line too.
No, and that's why I said the first thing I said was that we've discussed it before, because I'm aware that exists. I'm aware that there's that difference of perspective, and I've explained it as clearly as I could, and I believe that we're relatively aligned. Obviously, there's going to be some difference in between what I want and what she wants, but I think we've reached a pretty healthy compromise, especially since, if I'm being completely candid, we spoke about it like even last year. Like at the end of 2024, and then 2025 came, and 2025 was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was a hard year for
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly. So that kind of shifted things a little bit in many different ways. But yeah, it's something
What
that's,
I can warn you about, it's going to be a biological crisis, which it is emotional and hormonal. And if she starts going crazy, get prepared, because it's her body clock that it's requiring for family, for kids, and so on. So
Yeah,
be prepared if that is gonna happen, because all women have this in a certain way. So men sometimes need to prepare or know or understand that can come.
Oh, and that's fine. That's fine. It's something that like I've heard about, and so like in my head it's there. So if I wake
Okay.
up one morning and I'm looking at a completely different person emotionally, then that's fine. As long as we
Awesome.
can sit down and have a conversation and understand where this is coming from, and then yeah, I think we're good.
Awesome. Let's go to more impactful things like outside the world. What inspires you to create content, and how you go through your creative process?
What inspires me to create content? I'll give you two answers actually, because it's kind of evolved over time. Before it was just seeing other people doing it and believe that I could, which I think is fair. And then over time, it's become a thing of, depending on the type of content, it's become a thing of something that I've always enjoyed doing it regardless. But I think the main driver changed over time. So that was the first one. The second one now is more of their voice. I feel like the internet as a whole is a very pretty negative place, or it's become a
Why?
pretty negative place. I don't know why.
How do you see it negative?
How do I say negative? I mean, if you pick any social media comment section, you're going to have, I feel anywhere, or maybe it's just the content that I see, you're going to have a lot of people who are detracting from the content that they're seeing. Like, I'm sure, especially even given this podcast now, we could be having a very open conversation, but then somebody will post a comment that is
Rude or mean.
rude, mean, etc.,
So
etc.
basically, is you are saying that now social media it's a big vent for hate and hurt people.
I think so, yeah. And I feel like that stems into a lot of the content that we're seeing as well, because the comments are one thing, but then the content itself tends to be really negative. Especially, I exist in like the gaming spaces. I exist in like the WWE spaces, stuff like that. And a lot of times it's just people complaining. That's not to say that it's not valid for them to complain, but the way they complain is there's a lot of hatred and vitriol. It's very
viciousness.
aggressive, and it's just like it's okay for you to feel a certain type of way, but you don't have to be overly negative about
Or
it.
spread it on other people.
Yeah, exactly. If I feel a certain type of way about something, I can just say, okay, so I'm not necessarily a fan. But I can understand why this decision was taken, or I don't. I don't understand why the decision was taken. I don't like it. Full stop. That's it.
Yeah, you keep it for yourself. If tomorrow you will have like absolute power all over the world and everything you said is gonna be done, what would you do?
If I have absolute power, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Prepare. This one is gonna be very strong, like a bomb.
No, because
It's taking time.
no, because there's a bunch of different ways that we could go about it.
You can have all the decisions. Like pick 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
If you have so many, because usually complex people they have many solutions. Until you process this question, I think sometimes if I have power over the world, what things I will do, what I will change. I will prohibit hate. I don't like people to be aggressive or violent.
I think it's okay. So one thing, I would stabilize every country's economy so that everyone can make a living wage.
Okay, can you explain the concept the way you see it?
I don't understand. I didn't go to school for finance. I don't know how it works.
You don't know, but you just want to give that as a law.
That's the idea, yeah. Because I think there's a lot of things in our day to day that we experience that can bring on that kind of negativity. But like for example, if everybody is earning a livable wage, I think that takes off a lot of.
They give a lot of safety. There are studies made that, and in Norway they have implemented this pilot study, and basically they were giving people number of people, they were giving minimum wages, house, and everything they needed. So in the first 2 months everybody was super lazy doing nothing.
Fair.
And then
Fair, okay.
in the next 6 months everybody got super creative and became entrepreneurs because they experienced the comfort zone. And then, okay, if I have all this energy, this stability, this creativity, what can I do next? And they started to build businesses. So it's a model that it's already tested in the world.
Yeah, good to know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay.
And the second thing?
The second thing I think is, well, I was gonna say like either food or housing. I think that was the main one. But I think if you have a livable wage, then I think everything else would. If you have a steady economy and livable wage, I think that kind of falls into it. If I have absolute power, no, I think that's about it. Honestly, I think you settle that, then the rest, everything else, kind of falls into place after that. I think. Yeah.
We finish our podcast. You have to give me a very good quote. Like you have to give me one. I gave you like a homework to be a spiritual or leadership one. So until you think about it, you can see us on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on Instagram. We have short reels there. And also Facebook. We are everywhere. Spotify. And now we are waiting for a good one.
I don't know if this is spiritual, but this is the first one that like I thought of is If actions speak louder than words, then how come the pen is mightier than the sword? I don't know if that works. I
Wow.
don't know.
People needs to know how. People has to tell us in the comment how was it.
Yeah, okay,
They
that's
are
fair.
the
Yeah, that's
supreme
fair. Yeah.
judge.
So y'all tell us. Y'all tell us.
You tell us if it worked.
Allow me. Give me some grace, okay? Give me some grace. I just thought of it off the top of my head. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you
okay.
have another one which is not that spiritual, you can go for it.
There was one that I did earlier. If we're not supposed to eat at night, then how come there's a light in the fridge?
That's a good one.
Yeah. That one has a bit more polish on it. That one has a
We
bit
should
more
put the locker on
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Or no light. Simple. Very straightforward.
Thank you so much for being at Inspiring Leaders. It was a
Absolutely.
pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
And see you next time.
Absolutely.